Hello world, how are you all doing? I hope you're all doing great, and I'm back after 1 week of not streaming, and we are here with Open Focus Timer part 29, and we're going to work on the Open Focus Timer as always, as you're probably expecting. But as always also I want to have a quick round of things to go through. So nothing new actually on my blog, so still Swift Evolution Monthly, the latest article I have written. I have planned more interesting and generally more articles soon, but I'm currently focusing on the app that I'm releasing, which is currently the topic that I have on Twitter. So if you are following me on Twitter, you'll find that I have just recently posted this tweet where I basically kicked off the beta phase of my first true app that I was developing for 6 months now, since mid-January. I've been working on this, and the name is was revealed already in the last stream. It's called RemaFox, and it is basically a graphical user interface for Bardic Crouch. So Bardic Crouch being my tool to help translate your apps more easily and have like a really great workflow that you have as a developer. And we'll be using RemaFox actually today. So definitely check out this GIF also that I have posted showing basically how it works. So you can see, you just type a text and then this is hanging for some reason. All right, you can just mark the text and then you run the shortcut and you see this add entry window, and then you can just add your key there, translate all your apps with machine translation, and then just press enter and it automatically adds it all to your project. So there's a second example. In this case, I'm even going to pluralize it. So I add like a key there. I'm not sure if you can see fully. Let me scroll a bit more up. And then I can add like the count 1 as well. So if you have pluralized, you have different text for one and for multiple, like one message and 2 messages. And it auto-translates it to all the languages correctly and places it into your project. So you're basically never leaving the keyboard. That's the whole process. And it adds it to the enum file so you can safely access it. It also adds it to your localizable strings file and your localizable strings dict file. So pluralization support, and that's basically the magic of the entire app. In short, that's what RemaFox, the new workflow is, and you can also configure it all. And we have had a look at it in the last stream. So if you're interested, definitely check out the last stream where we went into this. But we're going to use the app from now on, so you'll be seeing it again and again. Also related, there is also the Twitter account. It's just called RemaFox_app. So make sure to follow the Twitter account. So let me also post this in the chat. Alright, merhaba, tebrikler, Kublayos. Welcome to the stream. Kubla iOS. How are you doing? My first reaction to the tweet was that I wish we had this app years ago. I totally understand, and I'm also thinking sometimes, why doesn't Apple implement it? And that's also my biggest fear, just Apple integrating this entire workflow or something similar to Xcode. So I was really curious if something would come out this year, but nothing happened. So make sure to follow the app, as I'm going to announce more stuff on the app here as well. And currently there's a survey running for the app icon. So I have not decided on an app icon yet, and there is actually 2 surveys going on, one for the design, so which of these 3 designs you like best, and then one for the color, which of these 4 colors you like best. And you can basically select both here. I'm not going to spoil the answers, but 117 people already voted. So make sure to also vote, and then I'm going to probably even have one more survey where I play around with the winners here from this survey to have the best icon possible for this app. All right, that's the app. Maybe they acquire yours. I don't think so. You never know, of course, but I don't think so. But yeah, we'll see. It's not too hard to implement this yourself. That's why I don't think they're going to acquire it. It's hard if you don't know all these stuff, but I mean, the Apple engineers, they know how all these localization stuff, how that works. Of course, they know it. And if they really wanted to do that, they could just copy my app more or less and integrate it into Xcode. But they haven't done it for like 15 years. They could have done it 15 years ago. This is not that complicated. Anyways, let's not get into that. But my app is here, and if you want to use that, make sure to use it. So that's it for the app. And also we finally have improvements here on my channel, because now you can actually just use the name Flying Dev and you'll land on my channel. And that's a huge improvement to before, which was this cryptic name. And because we have now over 100 subscribers, yeah, thank you everybody who has been subscribing to my YouTube channel as well. There is going to be more interesting content in the future. Currently, I'm just posting my streams, and once they are finalized, I'm posting them 24 hours later on YouTube. 24 hours later, because that's a requirement from Twitch that I have to wait that long. But you can basically find all these things here, and I am also listing them all in the right playlists. You can find my WWDC session watch alongs here in this playlist, the day one reactions on this. Any stream where I work on any lints here, Barty Crouch here, where I do indie app reviews is a separate playlist. All my Twitch streams are here, and everything we worked on the open focus timer is collected here. And I'm going to have more, of course, stream content, but also cut video content, like clips from the streams on specific topics, and even more interesting content in the future that I'm planning. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. But that's the round for today. And we want to get back and work on the open focus timer. So let me actually copy the next steps here. It's not going to go through what we did last. We basically tested RemaFox, the first beta, like the pre-beta. It was like a beta release candidate, and I fixed actually 2 bugs there before I started the beta 1. We also implemented a basic sidebar with 2 entries and refactored the main feature. So we're going to actually try working and creating our first charts today using the new charts library. Oh, that's a lot of sessions already, and we're today here. Let's make it big. Open focus timer part 29. All right. Start implementing the history or statistics screen in main window. Fix warnings shown for core data, fix more warnings. So these are things that we can do before release for sure. But our current plan is start implementing the history or statistics screens in the main window. So let's have a look at our project and what it looks like right now. All right, I can already see this is not properly building. Maybe it's because in my private time I was we're using Xcode 13, and this is Xcode 14 beta 3. So let's reset the Swift package caches here to make sure that the Swift version matches. So that's what we set up last time. And we can see we had actually done some things here. And actually I fixed outside of the stream, I fixed this before I released the beta. So basically what I had to do to fix it, let me actually show you the commit, then it should be clear. So I haven't pulled here yet. So this is still the save from last time. And we are going to fetch first. So we get the latest from the web branch, and we can see there is a new commit, and let's have a look at the changes here. So basically what we've done is here we have adjusted this script to no longer go to the path // so it's no longer going to the parent path. Instead it's just using open focus timer RemaFox directly in there, and this is only possible because I moved this file from being in this folder into this folder here. This is not entirely from the root folder, I mean to this open focus timer folder. So basically I just moved the RemaFox file, and that fixed basically the issue. And last time it didn't work because of a bug in RemaFox, but I have fixed it and now it's working. So we should be able to use it from now on. And just removal also of the SwiftGen strings file, which we no longer need because RemaFox covers that automatically. So no big changes, basically just moved this file and cleaned up some configuration here. Just going through the paths, for example, exclude subpaths continue. We don't have CocoaPods, Carfish, and things like that in this project, so I basically removed all these. I just added the build folder, just some cleaning up, nothing special here. And of course I have I had to add now the // because we are now basically having this config file inside the open focus timer folder, and that means our sources is not inside this folder, it's actually at the root. So I have to go to one parent up and then down into the sources. And this all works with RemaFox with the beta version, so this should be fine. Let's pull that. All right, some new viewers here. So for everybody who has joined in later, let me share the link again to Twitter. Oops, that's the wrong one. To the Twitter account of RimaFox, and it's still the wrong one. Let me just type it. Yeah, make sure to follow it and also take part in the survey there. All right, so let's run this app. Now it's building. Perfect. Let's run the entire app on iPhone and see what it looks like at the moment. And then we can start building or try or think about what exactly we should build next in the history or statistics feature that we want to work on today. So this is Xcode 14, and while we're building it, yeah, we can also see this is no longer commented out. And when we build it, of course, this is being run. So as this is being run, we can see nothing errored or something like that. And actually, when we add a new translation now, and I believe we had some new texts last time, which we did not localize. So let me check the last commit. I have a feeling that this was the case. So let's go to the view. Do we have any unlocalized texts here? We have text with to-do. One text main content is removed. Okay, I'm not sure if we have anything that we need to localize right now. Oh yes, we have a warning also stating localize this. So let's actually go to the main feature state. And let's just try out if RimaFox works as expected. So basically what we want to do here is this is returning a string, right? And currently it's just returning history. And of course we want this string to be localized, and we can use RimaFox for that. So I'm just going to mark this and just call the shortcut that we have set up ourselves. So if you go to the settings and key bindings and you just enter RimaFox here, you'll find this entry in the menu here. It's this basically, and you can add any shortcut you want. And I'm adding Option Command L for localize. You should not use Command L or something like that. Also Option L, for example, in German keyboard, it's the add symbol, so that's not a good one. I'm using Option Command L, and if I press this now, it should actually open RimaFox. And it did open RimaFox, but we have a bug here, so or some misconfiguration maybe. A file was expected but did not exist at this location. All right, so I'm just going to close this because we want to see if maybe this still works. It looks like the project is correctly found. The localizable.strings file was correctly found. Maybe we can rescan the strings files, and it's still saying this weird bug here. Let's see if this actually exists. Let me go to the terminal and just open the file, and it says it does not exist. So let's open the enclosing folder. All right, so the reason why this doesn't work right now, so I'm just going to close this and cancel. The reason why this did not work is because we have initially had this file at the root here last week, and I have on a different computer, or on this computer but on a different account, so basically like a different computer, I have moved this into this folder. And RimaFox currently doesn't know that this config file is no longer living here, but instead it's now living here. And to fix this, all you have to do is you just have to open this once, and it will basically refresh itself, at least in beta 2. I'm not sure if it's already here inside beta 1 because I have fixed it, but I believe it's also part of beta 1. So let's see if this works now that we have once opened it with the shortcut here. You shouldn't have all these issues because you're going to download the latest version from the start. All right, now it's working, and you can already see that we have now an open focus timer here, but now the strings file is missing, and also tells us the selected project doesn't seem to contain any localized string files. Please add them and then click the refresh string stick. And that's what we need to do, and now everything is fixed. This is basically if you move the RimaFox config file to a different location, that's all you need to do. Once you have to open the config file, and then if you when you're here, you just click rescan, and now everything should work. All right, it already added, because we marked the text, it recognized there is a text that I marked, and it added it here as what it was there. So all I need to add here is the translation key, And you can see the suggested structure is something like this, which looks like you're just initializing some Swift nested enum or struct or something like that. And even if you have like multiple parameters, you can name them and you can just use it like this. So how are we going to do this here? And let's have a look at our localizable strings files. Maybe we already have a structure. Yes, we do. So we're using lowercase with underscores and a dot sign to have the different levels here. And this is the basically the style that is not recommended by RimaFox, because as you can see, it's using uppercase. But I think it should be compatible, and even the braces maybe works. So let's actually just keep the style for now. And let's just say typo on line 77. Oh, geht den Namen Gruppe hier ein? I mean here, settings, oh yeah, category. All right, so let's fix this quickly, no problem. Let's fix it in all files, so thank you for that. Kubla iOS, easy fix. All right, so now we're here. Now let me go back to this file. So we're in the app now, and I want to add a key. And I just want to look up the right key, right? Settings. So we are in the main feature here already. Do we have main feature? No, we don't, but maybe we should add that. So let's go here, and we want to add main feature here. And let me actually cancel this and start fresh, just to see if everything works. All right, I can see that this is disabled now. This happens if there was a communication issue with the extension, and if you come across this, the fix is to simply restart Xcode. Did we do something weird? Why it happened? Let's just try again. All right, this time around we're here, and I just wanna add the key main. Let's call it main dot maybe sidebar entry. Sidebar entry dot this is history. All right, I'm going to skip the translation comment, and we already have the text here, so I just want to localize it using machine translation. So I'm just going to say Command M, and now I have to specify DeepL authentication key and Microsoft Translator authentication key if I want to use a machine translation. And I'm going to skip this here for now, but if you want to use machine translation in your app, you can translate it to like 39 languages, all languages basically that are supported by iOS and by the system. I also support in RimaFox, and you can just translate your app to all these translations instead. Because I just have it in 2 languages right now, I'm just going to add the language myself, and this is, I think, Historia, I guess, makes sense here. And then you have 2 buttons at the bottom here. You can either say insert as string, or you can say insert as localized string key. And localized string key you should only use if you really know that you're in a SwiftUI context and you can use a localized string key there. The only advantage over string is if you're using SwiftUI previews, and if you want to change the language in your SwiftUI previews, like for example, you have multiple SwiftUI previews, one in English and one in, I don't know, German, for example, to test long texts, and you want to see both at the same time in a SwiftUI preview, then you have to use localized string key, because in SwiftUI previews, the translation, the explicit translation only works if you have a localized string key set. It doesn't work with a string, but everywhere else you can just use a string, and in our case we have to use a string because we're returning a string from a function. So I'm just going to click this, and let's go back to Xcode, and you can see it was placed here. Currently, RimaFox doesn't work on full screen apps, so showing on top of full screen apps. I am working on that, and I want to fix that. I still haven't figured it out with SwiftUI how to do that, and with the extension. But in non-full screen apps, it should also work even here. So you can see it has placed now log main sidebar, this thing here. And it looks like it's not building, but I think this is just untrue. Let's just try building. All right, so something is still wrong here. Let's check that. Actually, the remafox.swiftfile should have been updated to include this new path, main sidebar entry history. So we're inside the string, global main, we have it, sidebar entry, history, and string. So it's all there. Maybe the file isn't linked yet. Let me check that. All right, it's inside the resources. I mean, maybe that's the issue. Yeah, we have to just import resources here. So in our case, in this case, I'm localizing in a specific Swift package. And of course, if we're not referencing that, we won't be able to use that. All right, now it should be building. There we go, it builds. And we want to do the same here with statistics as well. So let's just go that. In this case, we're not going to do a full screen. Instead here, and let's just use the same main dot, what was it? Sidebar entry dot statistics. All right, and that's the German localization. I'm just going to use the keyboard shortcut, Command Enter, and it places it here, and that's it. I can basically do everything from the keyboard, and that's the remafox flow. All right, this is localized, so let's remove these warnings. Yep. And note that you can, whenever, you can also just change this to lock string key. So if you click the wrong one, you can just correct it afterwards as well. And in case, for some reason, it doesn't place this code here automatically, it's also in your pasteboard. So you can just paste it in case something goes wrong with the extension. As a fallback, it's just in your pasteboard. All right. So this is localized now, this is fixed. Did we have any other texts that we have added? Just check. No, I think that's it. So let's run the app again. Let's go back to full screen mode. I want to actually make this full screen as well. Just move it on the side. There we go. So currently we should be seeing these texts here, history view and statistics view with a to-do. Oh yeah, wait, there's still something not building. What's the issue? Let me just rerun. It looks like a caching issue maybe. No, it's not. One issue, okay. Undefined symbol, resources, edit category, placeholder. Oh, I have no idea what that is. I'm just going to clean build. Let's just try again. Still not working. But this time it's more clear where the issue lies. All right, settings, category groups, has no member, settings, category groups. Let's check that. But it works here. This is typo? Yeah, that's the typo, yes. So that's the typo we fixed. And now we had to fix that. The reference here as well. And you see, this is exactly the strength of having strongly typed enums like this remafox file. This is a perfect example of why this remafox file makes your translation safer, because you can see that we have renamed the key in our localizable strings file at line 77. It was here, so there was some category, like something like this was in here, a typo. We fixed that, and if we had forgotten to fix the reference here as well, then we would have a bug creep into our application. But because everything is strongly typed thanks to remafox, we just got a build error and now we fixed it. And that's exactly the whole point. So now we have two main point entries here. currently when we click them, nothing happens. But what I would expect to happen is to this to navigate into the detail view. So let's have a look and let's make that work. Main feature view. So this is what we're working on, and we want basically when history. Where's this view store? Okay, it just looks which was currently selected and just presents the content. But I think we should be working with something like a navigation link, so it actually navigates and the SwiftUI navigation system gets triggered. I believe this is how it should be working. So let's have a look. I think we're using as navigation split view here, so it also works on macOS. So let me search for navigation split view. Yeah, that's right. So we have a navigation split view here. We have the detail view here. The question is, how can we connect the selection from here to change which detail we're showing? And currently we're just saying show the content view, and in the content view, we're just saying whatever is selected, just show that. And the problem with that is that it doesn't navigate into the detail view on like a navigation stack like we have here on iOS. And to fix that, I think we have to somehow use navigation link. So let's have a look at how to do that. Let's just see an example of navigation split view. I think it could be clear then. So they have a list here. They have a selection. The selection is stored like this, and then they have the details. And the details just show this. All right, but how does this navigate? I think this is not made for navigation because this is like on iPadOS and on macOS, this should just work as is, because you see this and this at the same time all the time. But on iOS, we have to somehow navigate. So let's see how to do that. The detail updates accordingly. Okay, the selection does affect the list appearance, okay, and the presented detail view. And this is a free column. You can also embed a navigation stack in a column. Yeah, I know that. Tapping or clicking a navigation link that appears in an earlier column sets the view that the stacks displays over to roots view. All right, so let's just try that out. Or wait, let's read on. Either way, the link must present a data type for which the stack has a corresponding navigation destination. Okay, I'm not sure if we really need this. Let's just first try a navigation link here. So we have the sidebar view, and the sidebar view holds a button right now. Let's change this to a navigation link. What if we just provide a navigation link here with a title and I guess a destination? Creates a navigation link that presents a destination view with a text label that the link generates from a localized string key. Or we provide a value here with a text label that presents the view corresponding to a value. All right, it depends, I guess, on the navigation split views. Okay, there's no selection here. Okay, I'm kind of confused. Let's have a look at navigation split view first. Column visibility, sidebar, detail. Isn't there something like a selection? No, there was no selection. Okay, then that was on the list in their case. Okay. Nothing special they've done here, so let's just try navigation link. What happens when we add a navigation link here? I'm going to use the destination one. So we have a navigation link, and I'm just going to play around. So let's just say test. And as a destination, can we provide like the view here? I'm kind of confused. Let me try something like this. Let's just say test view. What happens? Let's just have a look at what happens when I do something like that. So I have a test button. Oh yes, okay, when I click it, it automatically opens this and it works like a stack. But this is just the sidebar. Does it actually go to the detail? I think we can only learn that if we run this on an iPad where we have multiple stacks available, or where we have the proper split view available. So let me actually run it on iPad Pro 11-inch here. I think then we're going to learn if it really changes the detail view or if it actually changes. Let me turn this to the side, maybe the other side. That way we should be able to find out if it's a proper split view or not. Okay, if we go to main, we see on this sidebar, and it's showing a history view. And if we click statistics, it actually does not work. So this is not happening as I expected. But if we click test, it does change the right. So this is exactly what we want. So we're just going to use navigation link here. The question is, what do we need the detail here for? Because we could simply say empty view here right now. And with this logic, we could just say here, navigation link, basically change the buttons here to navigation links. All right, but this is with the destination, but we wanna, okay, this is kind of confusing. So what we wanna do here is move this inside. And the destination view is then just added here. And the destination view is logic from here. So it will be basically this or that. And sidebar entry.display name is what we want to show here. But we want to actually show a label, right? So let's actually create a navigation link with a label. And there's also the value where it creates a navigation that presents the view corresponding to a codable value. Let's stay with the navigation destination one. And the navigation destination here, it depends though, right? So let's just copy the entire thing here. You store selected for each, all cases, sidebar entry. This is the sidebar entry. And the label is basically what we have in here. Let me comment out the button here and let's run this. So I'm still figuring out navigation split view here together with all of you. It's going to run on the iPad first. Is it already a new one? I hope so. So if I click on main, okay, and I have double. Why do I have them twice? Oh, because I forgot this navigation link inside. Let's rerun. All right, when I click history, we see history. When I click statistics, we see statistics. So this seems to work, but this is confusing to me because now we have the view that we want to present inside the navigation link and not inside the detail here, and that's really confusing to me at least. So what am I doing wrong? Let's further have a look into here. Oh, it's using the content in detail, okay, and this is the detail. So they say employee details, and then the selected employees and the list selected. So there's no navigation link involved in here. It's just changing the details. I'm not sure if this is supposed to work like this and be compatible with iOS as well. I'm really not sure how to make this compatible with iOS, because if I use it like this, it's not going to navigate into the detail view. That's the problem that we have right now. So here is the right part. On iOS, basically, the navigation split view collapses all of its columns into a stack and shows the last column that displays useful information. For example, the 3-column example above shows a list of departments to start, the employees in the departments after someone selects a department, and the employee details when someone selects an employee. For rows in a list that have navigation link instances, the list draws disclosure chevrons while in the collapse state. For rows in a list that have navigation link, it draws a disclosure chevrons while in the collapse state. I don't see any of that. So this one I don't understand, because then it should have like collapsed chevrons here, but it doesn't. Maybe because it's not in a list. So we have to put it in a list. Maybe that's the thing. Let's do that. Let's put it into a list. So we have a for each but no list. Let's get this into a list instead of a VStack. Let's see what happens now. All right, now we have this history view, still no chevron, etc. It just looks weird with the background. All right. You can programmatically control the visibility of navigation split view columns by creating a state value of type navigation split view visibility. Then pass a binding to that to the appropriate initialize, either with column visibility, sidebar detail, or okay, so we can control it. The following code updates the first example above to always hide the first column when the view appears. Okay, so let's actually do exactly this. Column visibility, navigation split view visibility, detail only. Ah, okay. But this is what happens if we set it to detail only on the iPad. Is it also going to just show the detail, or does this only apply on iPhone? That's weird. That's interesting. So it ignores the visibility control when it collapses its columns into a stack. Okay, maybe that's not what we want. Customize the split view. Specify preferred column width. Okay, column width. Specify columns and navigation split view interact. Use split view style modifier with a navigation split view style. Emphasize the detail column, or to give all of the columns equal. Okay, I'm not sure if we can actually use navigation split view if we don't, if you want to use a navigation link, or if we don't follow this exact model. How did this work though? Would this work for us? So would this automatically navigate on iPhone? That's the question. That's really weird. Let's also run this on iPhone. Let's see what happens there with the list this time. So the weird part is this one. We don't need a detail view here. We basically don't need this if we use a navigation link. So I feel navigation link is not correct. And also they don't have any navigation link here, right? Yeah, they don't really have it. Instead, there are these other things, navigation, destination, and all of that. Maybe we should be using one of those. All right, let's see a different article about this. Maybe it's going to be more clear. This is exact navigation split view style balanced. All right, let's try that way. Let's try to just use a state so we don't have the things in the TCA state, but in the view state. And I can just do that by saying add state. In our case, what are we selecting? The sidebar entry. So let's make it var selected sidebar entry. And this is state.sidebar entry. All right, we don't have the state here. as a shortcut, so maybe we should add it. Something like that. In the view. State.sidebar entry, there we go. And it could just be history by default. And then we could just follow the examples here. Just saying a list of and then texts. A list of, I think, if we just have the list of sidebar entries and then a selection. All right, this is a selection. So let's actually implement it at the top. So let's comment this out and let's say a list of, and then we go into the view stores site. I believe we don't even need that. We can just say state the sidebar entry to all cases, and the selection is let's just go with self.selected sidebar entry. Maybe we can go to the view, back to the view store later. I'll see if that works. And then inside we just provide our label, which is this here. And of course we have a sidebar entry here. Sidebar entry display name, all of that. And also let's tag it. Let's give it the tag of the sidebar entry. And that should be it already, shouldn't it? Maybe we need to provide a text here and state something like self.selected sidebar entry.display name. Let's try this. And it fails because cannot be used as an attribute. Okay, they actually used optional. Maybe that helps. Not really. Let's just move this into our state. And we already have that, so we have selected sidebar entry. And we could just reference that here. So it's view store dot binding select the sidebar entry. There we go. Everything else should stay the same, except this here needs to be view store. Let's build now. And now this is failing, has no dynamic sidebar. Let's try this. Yeah, what's going on? Selected sidebar entry. Okay, it was just a different name. Unavailable on iOS. Seriously? Selection row content. All right, let me have a look here. List, courses selection, and then course. List.init. Data, row content. Selection, content. Data ID content. Data selection content. And this is not available on iOS. Let's have a look. We are on list. List. Need the one with data, selection, and row content. There we go. Data, data, selection, and row content. This is beta, and it is available on. Okay, we can't see where it is available actually. Ah, it is available only on macOS. Ah, that's interesting. So we need to use a different one. So these are not beta. How are they different? This is a, it's just optional in here. Is that the only difference? So let me just make that field an optional. Maybe it then works. Let's delete this again. So let's just go in here and let's just make this optional. Let me try build again. Okay, that was the problem. We have one last thing to fix, and we will do that right after the short break. So I'll be back in 5 minutes. Everyone who's here, take a stretch, get some fresh air, and we'll see each other soon. All right, I'm back, and let's continue. And we were just at fixing this report here. So we have changed the selected sidebar entry to be an optional, and with it being an optional, of course we need to provide some other alternative here, because it can be nil, and in the case it is nil, I think we could actually just say here if let sidebar selected sidebar entry view store. So I want to provide an empty state here. So I say if this is available, then just show it, and we don't need to unwrap anything. And if it's not available, just show a text stating something like please select something or something like that, or just say no sidebar entry selected, and let's translate that. And we are here in the main feature. Okay, well, main dot detail dot empty state, and let's just say empty main. How should we name the key? Main dot empty state. No. Main dot detail dot empty state. I'm just going to do it like that. Let's provide the German translation. No sidebar entry selected. How do we translate sidebar? Menü-Eintrag ausgewählt. Maybe something like that. Let's insert it actually as a localized string key in this case, because it is inside a text directly, so we can't use localized string key. Only that there is one issue, because we're using packages with packages. Actually, localized string keys are not available for use if your strings files are in a Swift package, so that's a limitation of SwiftUI here. And to fix that, we can simply go back to a string. But if you're using everything in one app, you can use localized string key there. All right, let's see what this looks like now. Why is the build failing? Oh, of course, we have to import resources because that's where our localizations live. And now it's failing because of something else, which must be exhaustive. Oh, this can be nil now. That means, actually, I would just comment this out because we're not using this view anymore. We have commented out here. All right, I can click on history. I get into detail, but I don't see any entry here. And I was expecting to see this text. So we have to figure that out. And I can go back and can't select statistics, can go back again. Okay, this does work on iPhone. How does it look like on iPad? Let's run it on iPad as well. See how it looks like there. And this is also how it's going to work on macOS. Sidebar entry, no sidebar entry selected is always shown. It never changes. So what's the issue now? So we have a list, we have a tag. I think I know what the issue is, because we now have a selection where the type of this is an optional sidebar entry. And the problem is here, when we get past, when we go walking through the all cases, there is no optionals in here. This is always typed, so the type of this is a sidebar entry, not an optional sidebar entry. So what we need to do is just say optional dot sum. And this way we specify that what we're passing here is actually an optional sidebar entry. And now the tag should work, and then I think that was the issue. Unfortunately, Swift doesn't warn against that. But now it should work. Oh, nothing happens now. What's going on? Maybe that was not the issue. Let me run this on iPhone. Okay, I can't even click them anymore. So that's worse. So maybe that was not the issue. That's interesting. What if we, what other initializers do we have on list? We have data selection, row content, 3 of them. I see that the binding for a selection is always a set, and we don't have a set here. We just have one object. So I'm not sure if that even works. Children ID. It only works with an ID. ID is a key path, random access collection element, hashable. Are sidebar entries identifiable? They are identifiable. In that case, maybe we could just use that method. And instead of using selection, we just use ID. And we just change the type of this to be sidebar entry.id. What happens now? Can we build? Let's fix the build errors first. And maybe we don't need the tag to be this, instead just the ID of it. And it doesn't build because, oh, it just expected a key path, not a binding. Yeah, that's not, it's just the key path on the object. So actually we don't need even a key path. We can just say all cases because sidebar entry is identifiable. This should actually work. And maybe we even don't need the ID here, but we'll see. Expected void main feature action. What's going on? Something wrong with the state? Yes, it is, because we need to provide, of course, initial ID. So let's go for sidebar entry. And what was history was the first one, and the ID of it. Let's build now. Still failing. Why? Maybe just state action, expected argument. Still something wrong with the state? Not really. Maybe we don't need to bindable state thing here. Select, okay, maybe we should call ID here as well. All right, this is not exactly what I want. Let me go back here. This is getting weird. Okay, let's get back to this one. Oh, this kind of builds. Just this ID needs to be removed again. And okay, some weird thing going on here. It should build, but it's saying it's failed. Don't really know what the issue is, but let's also revert this here to the selection one. Let me clean build to see what the error is. It succeeds now. Just a caching issue. All right. Still not clickable, and that was because of the optional. If you remove the optional, the problem was the content didn't change. I mean, the detail here. Basically nothing. Where we should see this here. So when are we actually, when this is actually getting called? So it is getting called. When I click on it, when I go back, click on statistics, it's also again getting called. So it should actually be presented, or it could be presented because it is getting called. And this is weird. Don't really know what's going on. I mean, what we can always do is we can just use navigation split view on iPadOS and macOS and navigation stack on iOS explicitly, like differently. That's like the last thing I want to resort back to, but I want to actually use it without doing that. So what's going wrong here? Navigation split view. I'm exactly doing it as in the examples. Let's continue here. I'm running an iPad. They can just select on the left these texts. And I could also select these. Yes, they are selectable. On iPhone, they just get the classic navigation, the different contents. How do they provide the contents? They just say selection. Okay, their selection is definitely an optional. So let me go back to the optional variants. Maybe that's the... Let's make it exactly work like they specify it. For that, I need to put the state back here. So let's just use a selected sidebar entry, state.sidebar entry optional. And main features, they cannot be used as an attribute. What is that? Why can it not be used as an attribute? It's really weird. This is not the attribute. Let me search for that. This is a weird bug. So some view cannot be used as an attribute. And let's also add state. SwiftUI. Oh. Oh, yes, we are importing SwiftUI. So why is this not working? I'm really confused now. I mean, in the official example of navigation split view, they're also using a user struct or something like that. Like here, but they have a set of IDs. All right, let's do it exactly like they do it. So we have a set of state.sidebar entry IDs, and this is selected IDs. So sidebar and sidebar IDs. Let's just call it sidebar IDs. Does this build? And it failed. String cannot be used as an attribute. What is this? Seriously, if I move this out as its own enum without the struct, does it work then? No, because it's okay. This is import. Yeah, let's just remove that. Just testing something. I'm still getting this main feature state, but why is it still stating? I think this is a wrong bug report. Let me build again. Clean build. It's because of the type alias at SwiftUI.state.sidebar. Oh, right, because this is called state. Now I get it. Line 26. Yeah, you're right. Thanks for that. So I could just use... Sure, I'm using the same name there. I could just use it directly like this and just remove this type alias. It's a good point. Let me remove the action here as well. All right. And this should actually also fix everything else. So let me go back. Maybe rename it and try again. We have a similar issue in our code base, which I namespace conflict with that, what we use. I see. So we have this state property, and it was name conflict with my type alias there. And this is fixed now. Let me go back to sidebar entry. Selected sidebar entry. And in my case, that's this main feature state sidebar entry. Let's make it optional. And then in the selection, I can just say self dot select the sidebar entry. And this should work fine. Sidebar entry. This might have to be an optional, so we'll see. Let me just run this and see what happens now. Fails, of course. Oh, maybe we don't need this $sign. Or do we need it? Okay, we do need it. And this is then, yeah, have a look again. Doesn't specify generic arguments to fix this issue. State value has DOM member sidebar entry. This is this. Now we're talking. All right, let's see if it works. Arse history, no sidebar entry selected. Still, it works like no sidebar entry selected, but we are on the view store here, so maybe we should go back to our self to dot selected sidebar entry. Now it could work. At least we're not running into this anymore, but I still don't see this text. What's going on now? Let me actually show just the text here, which just says self.selected sidebar entry dot display name or nothing selected. Let's just comment out this stuff. All right, now we're seeing history and statistics. So it works when we provide a text. It just didn't work because we have had an iflet there. All right, so that's the progress. So we have some more knowledge here what was going on. Now maybe we can get rid of this and just see if we can get this working with just this, but from the view store. So we already have in our state this selected Sidebar entry, which is also an optional now. Let's just use this instead. So instead of providing our own state here, we do this, which is basically the same. We go into the view store, get the binding for the key path selected Sidebar. So this is the TCA magic, and it should be basically the same logic. And here we also go into view store, the selected Sidebar entry, just display name. Should work exactly the same. And it does. So this TCA is not a problem here. This is working exactly the same. It was this iflet. So what we can do, what can we do here? Let me just get this back again. Let's add a VStack here. Let's get it all inside. Maybe also a wrapper type like VStack was the problem because we had iflet logic at the root. Yeah, could be. Maybe we need something like not size that fits, but any layout, any view. I think there are some new things. Oh wait, produces diagnostic expression. Please submit a bug report. Oh, what's happening here? And include the project. So that's interesting. So anyone from Apple, if you want to check this out, let me actually. If anyone from Apple is watching, which I don't think. If you want to check this out, let me actually open a new branch. Let's say Apple bug report 1. Create an, oh no, not checkout. All right, let me, oh, that was not that wrong. Apple bug report 1. Create and checkout. And then let's just copy this. Commit to reproduce Swift issue. I received in main feature view. So received a hint to report this bug in main feature view dot Swift in line 12. Let's just commit this for the bug report and skip any pre-commit hooks, and let's actually discard the changes. Let's go back to our branch and apply them here. How can we apply? We just check this out and then we switch to main. Oh no. Okay, we're just going to cherry pick the commit and not commit the changes. All right, here we are back. Oh yeah, I should write this down into our Notion document. Bug report to do send to Apple. Cool. But we want to fix this and work around it. I'm guessing that this is something with the types not being able to be figured out. Probably a type mismatch somewhere. So let's comment out stuff to find where it's failing. So if I build without this, it does build fine, looks like. Yes, so this builds fine. If I remove this and just add the E-flat. Okay, it fails. So the E-flat is really the problem here. And of course, because we don't have the self here, so we need to call into view store to select it. And let's build it now. And of course it works. And if I uncomment this, it also will work again. All right, let's run this and see what happens now. Oh, so we're now getting both. And I think the issue really was that we didn't have a VStack. So now we can just get rid of this. And I think the content view does make sense. Let's just move this into the content view. Let's keep it separate. So we can build on it separately like this. And maybe we can keep this logic and just add the hint on in the empty case. So we just say like case none. Let's have this view. This should build here and uncomment this. It's now in a view. Maybe we just need a group because it's just a view. Maybe we don't even need that. Let's try it without. Okay, we do need something here. I'm just going to put it into a group. I don't know why we need it. Let's go back to VStack. That's interesting. It works now. I don't really know why, but this works. And I'm going to keep that as is. All right, so we fixed this. Next up in the sidebar. This is not really looking nice, to be honest. And let's have a look at here the padding. Maybe we should remove padding because when we're using the list renders things itself. And we should probably remove all the frame things like that. And I will just add the tag in one line. And let's remove the sidebar here to make this more readable. I don't think we need the sidebar because we just have a simple list. So we can actually remove all this code. Do we have anything special here? Not really. That simplifies our code also. Nice. Let's run again. Let's see if it works both on iOS and iPadOS. This kind of looks better. Not great, because it's at the top of the list, and the list isn't very long. Maybe we should try to put this in the middle of the screen. So we have a navigation split view, this sidebar. We can just add a VStack here. This list at the top and just add two spacers around. And I like to put spacers between after or around spacers to make them more visible. And now it should be centered in the screen. No, it's not. Because this is a scroll view. Okay, it's taking the entire space and then it's at the top of the... How can I center content of a list? Let's see. Center content in a SwiftUI list. So I need inside of, yeah, not really what I want to do here. What can I do? I think I'm just going to keep it at the top. Then users have to reach at the top of the screen. Not perfect, but it should work. I'm wondering if a disclosure indicator here would make sense. How can we get a disclosure indicator? Because it's basically a master detail view now, or how is it called? So I have a feeling that there should be an indicator here. I could put it manually, but I have a feeling that this should be provided by the system. If I use a navigation link instead of a label here, is that a good idea? But now we have the destination again. We could use the tag variants. Not really. Yeah, maybe I should show it manually. All right, so we have an H stack. I move the label inside here, and then at the end of the view, I want to show an image with the system symbol. I think it's a chevron right. Yeah, just chevron right. Is it compact right? Not sure. Let's try a chevron right, and let's give it a foreground color of secondary. Let's see what that looks like. Ah, not what I wanted. I forgot the spacer. Let's also get back to coding without the, the navigation is working now as expected, or is it? Oh, what happened now? Is the navigation broken now? Yeah. Kind of looks as I want it, but now our navigation is broken. Why? Label, spacer, and image. Oh, the tag is only on the label. Let's put it on the H stack. That should be the reason. Yes. All right, this is working. That took longer than I expected, but I believe this is working now for all platforms. And that means I'm going to close this off and even close this entirely. And let's just make one more test on iPad. And then I'm going to work with the SwiftUI previews again, which should reflect our changes much faster. Okay, in this case, I don't want to show this symbol, so let's actually exclude it. In the case that this is... how can we detect that we're on iOS, on iPhone? How can we detect the width that we have? Maybe we can use size that fits now. Let's use size that fits. How does that work? Ask you to calculate and return the size that best fits the specified size. Oh no, not size that fits. View that fits, or something like that. Oh yes, view that fits. That's what I was talking about. A view that adapts the available space by providing a first child view that fits. For example, horizontal, H stack, progress view, text. So it's providing the first that fits. But we always have the same width. I don't think that this is what we want. Okay, navigation split view. Maybe we just keep it. Maybe it's just the color. Let me go back and change this to tertiary, which we don't have, I think. Okay, let's keep it secondary, but let's change the opacity to half. Yeah, that's better. It's still not perfect, but I think we can work with that. So many details when you're working on one code base that works on macOS and iOS and things like that, but I want to keep a developer warning here stating that we should consider removing the chevron from iPad or macOS. The problem with things like if OS, things like that, is that iPadOS and iOS, they are both called iOS. I can't say something like iPadOS. If I could say that, then this would be easy to fix because we could just exclude it, but that's not possible. So I'm not really sure what's the easiest way to exclude something from iPadOS only, but maybe we should just search. Check if running on iPadOS. Okay, I could check if the device has iPad, but this is a runtime check. And I'm not sure if runtime checks are a good idea, so actually this is one of the questions I think where I provided an answer myself somewhere. But maybe that's not the question. Anyways, if I want to just check UI device, user, what was it called again? That's the old style. What's the new style? Check if on iPad or iOS, iPhone. Stack Overflow. This is still the old one. There you go. Oh yeah, this is the answer. There you go. UI device current user interface idiom. Current user interface idiom is pad, or is not, or is, let's put it, is phone. So if that's the case, then show this, otherwise we just have the spacer. Maybe that works. Let's try it out. All right, this works that way. And does it work also on iPhone? Looking good. All right, we can remove the warning. We have fixed it quickly and easily. Let's just streamline this a little bit. And even the spacer, I believe we only need on iPhone. Maybe we should keep it. Alrighty, let's clean things up and finish up this commit maybe. Content view is still not implemented. That's what we're going to work on next. And consider that iOS there might just be one window. Change the naming here. Main feature view. Oh yeah, that's maybe something we should rename later. All right, let's check the changes. First, we have localized here the main feature state. We have made this optional, and the question is, do we really need to make this optional? I want to have something. No, I don't want to have something pre-selected, at least not on iPhone. On iPadOS, what happens on iPadOS right now when we don't select anything? What does it show on the right? Something like nothing selected? Yeah, no sidebar entry selected, which is fine. But maybe we do want to pre-select one of them. Yeah, let's add it as a comment for iPad at least. Let's just do it here right away. If, what was it, UI device dot current user interface idiom is not iPhone. So it's not phone. That should actually compile. It's not phone, then we set the selected sidebar entry to history. And on the phone, we want to show the first level, so that's why we're not setting it there. And we have to import UI kit. All right, this should fix it. Now on iPad, we should have history pre-selected. And we do. And on iPhone, we should not have anything selected. So we can dive into it. Exactly as expected. Nice. Let's go back. Let's check our changes again. So in the state we are adding, we're localizing this, we're setting these things. In main feature view, we have streamlined the sidebar to just these lines of code. And the content view we still have to implement. I have a feeling that we might actually be able to also streamline this because we will probably create extra views for these, and then we just have to if let stores in here. Then we have the translations, some new entries here, which we just added. And we have fixed as you can see, a small spelling issue here, a typo, and that changed also the order. And the same should be here as well. Looks nice. Then RemaFox, of course, added these things. This happened automatically when using RemaFox in the window, in the add translation window, and also on every build. Also, the build script always updates these files in case you change the strings files manually. They always basically stay up to date, and this is really cool. And you can also see here, just in case you're interested, that you do get a auto completion kind of translation. So if I, for example, entered here block.main.sidebar entry and then as soon as you get to the last level, you see here a translation for English. So this basically translates to history, the word history. And of course, in this case, it's simple, but maybe if we go to something else like settings, category, groups, delete confirmation dialog.message, you see here as a preview, do you really want to delete this category group? So while developing, you know, okay, this is the text that is being shown, which helps with knowing if this is the right key or not. So let's get back to fork. So that's that. And yeah, everything else is just implementation detail. And here, again, the typo fix. So basically localize missing unlocalized strings. Plus, we have basically implemented the top level navigation. Fix top level navigation in main. And this is also the changes that we can document. And these are actually two things. Fix top level navigation main to work with iOS and iPadOS. That was like why it took so long with navigation split view. Fix top level navigation using navigation split view. Localize unlocalized string using RemaFox. And this is something that I might do after the stream, just to make sure that I do send it to the Swift team so they do have that feedback because they were asking for it there. All right, so that was a lot of work to get the navigation going. Next up, we should focus on presenting the detail views here and start using Swift charts to add some data here. I think the first step we need to do is we have the main feature here now, which is the entry point. Now we have to create the history and the statistics features. I see we don't have them here yet. So we are going to generate them using our generator. So let's go back here and let's go to the terminal. Let's use our generate script, which works like this. So we have to run with the kind and name, and the kind available currently is only package, and the name is generate package, and the name that we want to create is main feature. Let's call it history feature and statistics feature. History feature, that's one. And then it helps us basically set this up properly. Let's just go to our package file and copy these things in. That's number one. And this is number 2. Just add it history feature after I. And the same for statistics. Statistics feature. Let me copy them in. And let's finish this up before we get into the break. This is ST. There you go. And now we have the stopped generated stuff here, and we're going to basically continue with those right after the break. I'll be back in 5 minutes. All right, let's move on. And we just added these features here. And let's see if actually everything is building. Looking already good. I'm going to switch to the history feature now. And we also have the statistics feature here. So both of them are available. Let's see what they currently look like. Okay, we can already see it's a very simple setup here. And the first thing we want to do is we want to connect them to the main features. So they are basically what we have here as a view. They are shown in the main feature when the right tab is selected in the sidebar. So this is how it renders here. And I'm expecting that statistics also works. Let's build it first. And now let's refresh the SwiftUI preview. All right, looking good. Let's connect everything together. Let's go back to the main features view. And in here, we can already see that we have here just text as placeholders, but here we want to actually use the right things. So let's import into the main feature the other 2 new features here, the statistics feature and the history feature. Let's add them as dependencies. History feature. All right, now we can import them here in the main feature view, of course. Now we should be able to access the views, which are history view, history feature view. The point is we don't want to reference it directly. Instead, we want to say, or we do want to maybe, let's try first. So we can create a store here, and the store can be initialized like this. And let's just send it here. This is the history feature reducer, and the environment is simply our current environment. And that's the problem. We don't have access to the environment right in here in the history, in the content view here. And that's why we don't want to initialize it like this. Instead, we want to initialize the store from the current store and just scope it. And when scoping it, we can see that we have to map the states. So that's why we have to create here in the state a history feature state, history feature state, and a statistics feature state. And somehow it's not importing. Let me import manually. And we could make them optional because we only have to specify something, but maybe we want to have file switches. We want to just keep the state. Let's keep the state. So I always want to have a state here. And that means when we initialize this, I have to provide a state. And I'm just going to initialize here an empty one. And likewise for the statistics feature state, just an empty one. All right, now they are set to something. And now we can actually go here and we can now map the states, but we also want to know about the actions. So not only the state, which we can now do, like this, we can just say from the main feature state to the local state, we just have to say, and we can actually provide a key path and just say history feature state. But we want to also map the action. So let's also add the action here, which I'm going to do here, case history feature action. And again, it's not importing. All right, whenever we add new actions here, we have to handle them in the reducer. So let's also copy these imports over here and let's handle these. And for now, we're just going to say whenever history feature actions happen or statistics features actions happen, we just don't do anything. So we just return none as the next effect, and we just comment or document handled by child reducers. So if we need to override any of the actions, for example, when there is like a workflow and something is finished, we might want to close the workflow here from the top, from the parent. But in this case, we don't need to do anything for now. So let's just keep it empty. And that means we also don't need to add anything into the action handler. We can just keep it as is here. But because we have now reducers, child reducers here, we have to connect them properly. And that's done like this here. We have to say, let's look it up somewhere where we have already done this to prevent any issues. So let's go to the timer feature, for example. We could have that here. Yes, we do. So you can see we just say reducer.combine, and then we just call into reducer and just pull back the state. And let's exactly do that. Reducer.combine. Now we can just list reducers, and this is just the last reducer to run. So let me actually add it into this. And in here, we're just going to list the history feature reducer. And we're just going to pull back inside of it. Let's fill this out in a second, but let's go to this statistics feature reducer. And let's pull back that as well. And the reason why we don't need optional here is because the state, we didn't make it optional, we made it required. So our state going from the main feature state into the history feature state, we can simply say main feature state dot history feature state. Should work like this. And I believe we have to specify with a backslash, sorry. So again, we can look it up. This is always the part that is kind of weird that I have to look up myself. So yes, backslash, and the action is /. And in the action case, we say main feature, another regex, main feature action dot history feature action. And we can just simply do it like that. And this is statistics feature, of course. Likewise here, statistics feature state. All right, and the environment, we're just going to, we just default to always app env. So I'm just going to say, pass along the same environment. And this should build now, I hope. Okay, the statistics feature builds, we want to know if the main feature builds, because that's connecting everything together. I think we're not finished yet. Oh yeah, we're not finished yet, so this is not working. Now we can connect the action though, and we just say main feature action dot history feature action, and basically the same we do for statistics, and we can get rid of the text here. I'm already seeing that we're going to run into a problem, I think, but let's first finish this up. Statistics feature action. All right, this does not build because statistics feature, oh yeah, statistics feature state cannot be converted to history feature state. Of course, statistics feature view. Oh, this does succeed. So with some view, I think that's new in Swift 5.7 that this now works, because this did not work before. So this is one of the cool things, and I believe this is one of the things I have actually covered in the Swift Evolution Monthly. So if you just check out SA Monthly, or you just go here, and it might have been one of the last things I have presented. Implicitly opened existentials. Was not this? Could have been this. Okay, I did cover it, so maybe I can just go back to my own summary of it. Regex literals, regex syntax, regex power words, primary associated standard types. Okay, not this issue. Maybe it was the April issue. Type inference, build partial block, run line loads, regex build a DSL. There we go. So, nope, I think that's not constraint existential types, maybe. Okay, I don't really remember which one it was, but I believe it's one of the newer features of 5.7. Was it this one? No. Anyway. Appreciate your work on the newsletter, by the way. Thank you very much. I'm glad that you seem to be subscribed. Great to hear that. And I have to write the next issue in a week from now, so I'm looking forward to see what else is coming in Swift 5.8. I mean, Swift 5.7 is already closed, more or less, as things were even presented during WWDC. But I think I covered it, but or I learned in the WWDC sessions maybe that this, I mean, I just worked on a sum view function, I think yesterday in the RemaFox project actually, and I believe I had something similar to this and it did not work. And oh, I just recognized why this worked, because of the with view store. So if we remove this, and even if we don't reference the with view store anywhere, like if we had an if this and an else this, I think this still doesn't work. Yes, I think that's why it's working, because we have like a container. Anyways, I just want to know if this compiles. It does. Make sure selecting a Sidebar entry also causes navigation iOS. Okay, this we have fixed that. Yeah, this should actually work, and maybe we can actually skip this all and just put this inside of here. I mean, it's not that much code. Let's see if it builds. It does. Let's see the preview. Preview crashed. Okay. Let's make a clean build. Let's try again. Switch the device. Maybe that helps. I guess that's a beta issue. I was looking forward to use Swift charts today, and I think we're just going to start using it Okay, let's skip that. Let's just run the application instead and see if everything is connected properly. I'm just going to go to the app and run it on the iPhone. This is not 100% perfectly readable, but it's still like under 40 lines. I think that's fine. Gotta hop off. It was a nice stream. Thanks. Catch you later. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you have a great day and have a nice weekend. And yeah, see you next time, hopefully. Well, thank you again for being around. Cool iOS. Thank you very much. So for telling me about the bug that I had, the typo. You too. Thanks. Thank you very much. Let's make the iPhone full screen again. Okay, so this is working. It's showing history feature now and statistics feature. And I think it should also work on iPadOS. I don't think we need to test it again. I think it's safe to say that. And with that, we can hop on to the history feature and just focus on that. So I am going to close this again and just start using the SwiftUI previews again. Let's just close this down, because on the feature level, like statistics history feature, for example, I think here it is working. Let's go to the history feature view. I mean, this is very simple right now. Maybe that's why it's working, but it's working. All right. So we want to provide some data here. And the question is, what should we start with? So let's just go back to our Notion document. And let me actually see if I can already, yeah, let's do another commit for the creation of these. So these are looking fine to me. Changes here also are looking good. Okay, this is all fine, and let's just stage it all and just call it. Add stopped history and statistics features plus glue, or yeah, glue with navigation. Glue is how the point-free guys like to call whenever they connect things together. They call it glue code. So I like to use that term now as well whenever I do glue stuff. Oh, come on. All right. So let's get back to the overview of this project, actually, which is the Open Focus Timer document here. So we get reminded of what features we want to implement and what we maybe already have implemented there. So the custom length Pomodoro timer, that's like this Pomodoro timer overall needs definitely a lot of work, especially on the UI side. But let's get things working first before we get to UI. So we have history and statistics here. And in history, check what you've been doing lately. So just a list of different timer sessions, what you've learned. So you want to also see what you've learned for each and what slowed you down. So we want to basically see like a database list here. On statistics, history filterable by categories and category breakdown per filterable time. So we want to have like charts kind of that are showing like how much time you have maybe spent on things. Okay, this is a simple list. Maybe this is easier to implement, and the statistics is probably where we need Swift charts. Let's see if we can get this done within a few minutes. Actually, I'm going to turn off the countdown here because we are already time-wise at the end of the stream, but I'm going to try implement or quick implement this feature with the history. So very simply put, what we want to have here is just a list of, and the objects are going to be basically focus timers. So let's just say something like temporary focus timers, and it's just a list of focus timer. Oops, timer, and I think we have to import something here. So focus timer lives in the model. So let's import model. Now we should be able to do this here, and I'm just going to implement a few here. Init with a context, started at categories, focus topic, etc. The context I'm just going to pass, okay, what can we pass here? Can we pass mocked? It looks like started at, I don't know, date.now, adding time interval, days -5, categories, let's just keep it empty, focus topic, well, actually let's not keep it empty, let's actually create something here as well. Let's just create one category, again mocked context, name demo category. Let's actually create two. And I'm just asking myself why I'm providing these in the real code. Let's just provide it here. And that already shows us that in the state we actually need that. So let's go to the state and let's actually add what we just tried to add here. Let's just add it to the state. So we need the focus timers here. And this is variable on initialization. Probably we should do some calls here. Load data, initial data from database, or do it on appear. These are empty for now, and currently we just set self the focus timers to an empty array because this is not done yet. And we have to import a model here, of course, as well. Let's go back. Now we can just say here, view store dot focus timers. Now we have a focus timer here, and we could just start with the text and just get into the focus timer dot start date, started at, and let's just format that if it's available. Otherwise, let's say start date missing. Now, if we want to build this, we're going to have the problem first that this is not identifiable. Okay, let's provide the ID explicitly, and we're just going to go into, do we have an object ID? Yeah, we do have an object ID. And it does build because in the initializer, then it just has an empty array, but we do want to pass actual data. So let's call the width. Oh, this is not withable. This is withable, so it should actually work. Then I just call width, and then I can just say state, and we can just adjust it by just adding other focus timers, like creating a focus timer. Okay, this somehow does not autocomplete. I don't know why. History feature state has no focus timer. History feature state. Focus timers. Now it works. And we're just going to, can we create mocked ones? Let's see. Oh yeah, we do have mocked ones. So let's actually create just a few mocked ones. And let's see what this looks like. Okay, the preview fails. Not very useful. Let's try starting with working with the proper. But if we work with the proper one, and we can't see this mocked data. Yeah, let's try to fix the... This is a bummer. History feature. Let's try to fix the preview. You have to get it somehow working. We're still building. Let's close the app. Let's just try again. Okay, let me actually report this. Let's commit this here. Add simple knocked history list implementation. So this for sure is incomplete. Let's also make sure that we don't forget. Not yet. Oh, come on. Not yet completed. Let's amend it. All right, so this is the exact commit, and we can now send it to Apple so they can investigate. Let's quickly do that. And I think that's going to be it for today. But let me first do that. Come on. Line dev public / open focus timer, and the exact commit is this one here. All right, Xcode reopen. Steps to reproduce. Download this open source apps. Download this open source app with the linked commit. Download this app Come on, just want to make this bigger. All right, we have to work with this small thing. Second, open the open focus timer. Open focus timer. Is it called that? I think so. Yes. Open focus timer Xcode. Proj file with Xcode 14 beta free. Select the, where's Xcode? Oh, Xcode has crashed. It looks like. It's actually the preview one I want to report. So you have to, history feature, select and wait until all dependencies downloaded. Select the history feature scheme. Open the history feature view, history feature view.swift file. Turn on SwiftUI previews and refresh them. see also my stream from note that this issue happened and this report was written live while streaming on Friday. My streaming, so the date should be clear, at twitch.tv/jihad. Feel free to see the recording. All right, this should be detailed enough. Let's say open an automatic example. Okay. Also add the comments here as well. Okay. So bug report is sent. This is building, but the preview is crashing. I think it's still crashing. And maybe until next week we'll have Xcode 14 beta 4, and maybe this is already fixed. So that's also maybe a good reason to stop here, so we can have a properly working one. Yeah, let's add this again. Cannot preview this one. We have fatal error in resource bundle accessor. Very interesting. It's because of the resources. All right, I see. Yeah, one more reason to actually report this. All right. So still we haven't started with Swift charts, and I believe next time we're going to quickly work on this to have, I think I'm going to use a disclosure group here and to just show the start and end date or something like that, or maybe the category for the timer that was tracked. And then when you open it up, you see like the details that we are tracking. Like the, if we go to the core data model here, or data model, and into this here, so we have the focus timer, which has these fields, and then we have the learnings, next steps, problems, and progress points that we are tracking. And these ones we can maybe open, like when we expand the disclosure group, we can maybe show these details. And that's what we're going to quickly do here next time. And after that, I want to switch on to the statistics feature view. And here we want to implement some statistics using Swift charts. All right, let's see if there's something to commit. It doesn't look like it. And yeah, that's it for the stream. So as a quick reminder for everyone who has not seen it, I have actually, I am working also not only on this open focus timer on Fridays, I am also working on a real app in my indie developer time. And my app that I've been working on for 6 months has actually been released in a beta phase. So the beta phase has started, and this is the tweet about it. So let me maybe just share the link in the chat. And if you want to check this out, definitely do that. So quickly again going through this, what it does. I can also open it on GitHub so you can see where to download it exactly. So this is the first beta of the application, and it's basically a graphical user interface for Body Crouch, which is a tool that helps you translate your apps. You can see like the config file here where you can set up all kinds of things like the normalizer. You can use that. You can use the linter. You can machine translate your app and all kinds of things like that. But you don't really have to open the config file much. You just have to set it up once. And after that, this is the workflow that you're going to be using. So from Xcode, you can basically start a translation. You can add them here like we're using in the stream when we translate stuff. You can see also pluralization support. And it does smartly detect for Arabic, for example, that there are a lot of pluralizations. For Japanese, there's just one case. So there's not like one message, two messages in Japanese. There's just message always. It's always like for 1, it's the same. For 5, it's the same. And RemoFox knows that for each language. So it smartly translates only to the cases that you actually need. So yeah, definitely make sure to check RemoFox out. It's totally free. The beta is totally free to test. And you can, of course, use it in your project already. The final app is not going to be totally free. It's going to have paid content, but my goal is, I think I mentioned this here also, my goal is that I want to have like mostly free users And just like the pro features are going to be not free, you can see what is free. So all these features are free, and only the pluralization support is going to be paid, and the machine translation of pluralization also is currently planned to be paid. I also promise here I'm never going to be make anything that is free right now and ships as free. I'm never going to make something that was free paid later on. I think that's a really bad move to do, and I definitely plan never to do that. So I will be basically committing each time I release a free feature that is going to stay free forever. And I am of course planning to maintain this tool also for a very long time. So I really want developers to be able to trust this, and definitely for that, I really want basically everyone in the community to be able to localize their apps really easily. So that's why I'm going to have a really, really cool free tier, I think. And just for large projects, really large ones, and for specific, like I would say, advanced features like pluralization, I'm going to have a paid service there. Otherwise, yeah, definitely make sure to test it out. To also give me feedback, you can just send me a message on Twitter or something like that, or there's a built-in. So if I open RemaFox here, you will see that this is the current version. There is a built-in help, so you can just say report a bug here, for example, and if I click that, it actually opens GitHub. Okay, I have to be signed in, and for some reason I'm not signed in. I really don't know why. Maybe I can do that quickly. I think it should be safe here. All right. Oh. Okay, that's not going to happen right now, but basically it brings you down to a page here on GitHub. Here, RemaFox, it basically brings you to the issues and then just creating a new issue with a specific template. So you're just creating issues here, and yeah, it will be really helpful if you just provide some feedback. You can see no one provided feedback on the server yet. That's probably going to happen at latest when this is publicly released. I did receive feedback already personally, so if you want to just send me via Twitter, feel free to do that. But otherwise, yeah, try RemaFox out for sure. Don't forget to also follow RemaFox app. Let's also share that. And if you're having any translations in your app, I think you're really going to like that. And we still do have a survey for which app icon you prefer to have on RemaFox. That's not decided yet. And I'm also going to iterate after I get the results, and this is still on. So 1 day left. Make sure to take also part in this survey. And if you're not following me on YouTube yet, make sure to follow me on YouTube. We have passed 100 subscribers recently, so thank you again for everyone who has subscribed. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like this video right now. For everyone else, thank you for joining in, for writing also in the chat. I hope you're having a nice time, and I'll be checking now if there's anyone we can rate. Otherwise, have a nice weekend, and I'll catch you next week. Thank you very much. Bye.